Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into 18 college basketball arena facts that you didn't need to know. Beginning in Columbus, Ohio, this is a forgotten arena, but it still does technically exist. It is St. John Arena, the arena that Ohio State moved out of in the late 1990s. However, St. John Arena is still standing. They've removed the scoreboard. Ohio State did play a random early season non-conference game there in 2019. It is certainly an older, beautiful looking college basketball arena, and you have to wonder if Ohio State would have renovated this arena, how good their home atmosphere would have been. But as the story goes, they decided to build Value City Arena because they wanted a multi-purpose concert venue that also could host hockey along with other events. So St. John Arena, which was originally supposed to be demolished all the way back in 2012, sits vacant. Long Beach State's arena is literally a pyramid. Probably one of the most random things you will see. I didn't even know about this until a year ago. This is one of the 4 biggest pyramids in North America. It's comparable to the Bass Pro Shop Pyramid in Memphis, and you can see the interior of it, just the really strange seating design, the skeleton pyramid going all the way up to the top. I will give them credit, the exterior of it does look very beautiful and clean, kind of like a dark ocean blue color, but the interior, it leaves a lot to be desired. It's very hollowed out, and it has very limited seating. Almost looks like it's all completely removable seating, which makes it look even more cheap. Cameron Indoor Stadium, home of the Duke Blue Devils. You could argue it is the best stadium in college basketball because of how uniquely small it is. But not only is the interior crazy, the exterior is also beautiful. I mean, look at those wooden doors. Look at the stone. It looks like you're entering some type of crazy church that is actually the entrance to one of the greatest college basketball environments we have. About 7 years ago, SMU recently got a renovation to their arena. They added suites right above all of their seats. Now, little known fact, this was actually a potential renovation to Cameron Indoor Stadium. Of course, Cameron Indoor, because of how small it is, it has no suites. But if you were to install suites, this is probably how you would do this. And this renovation that SMU got was originally pitched for Cameron Indoor to put the suites above all of the seats. And that's how you would fit them in. Of course, that renovation for Duke never happened, but for SMU, it did happen. Kansas City University. They play at a rec center. No, literally, that is where they play. It is remarkable. It is the UMKC Campus Recreational Center, and its main arena has a total capacity of just 1,500 people. UCLA's Pauley Pavilion flooded back in 2014. Now, with it being UCLA and located in California, it didn't flood because of rain. No, there was a water main break, and you can see, looks like the stairs turned into a little bit of a waterfall, and the courts at that time they were set up for volleyball were completely flooded over with dirty water. Kind of just a unique random thing that happened at UCLA back in 2014. The JMA Wireless Dome is the biggest arena in college basketball. It's not surprising considering it also hosts football, and they have given it a few different renovations, including giving it kind of a translucent tile roof to let in more natural light. Another thing they're planning on doing is taking out all of the bleacher seats in the lower sections and the upper deck and putting in nice padded seats that will really enhance the environment. I would love to see them do this, make the stadium darker. Aesthetically, it'll look a lot better with those dark blue, those Syracuse dark blue seats. This is another interesting idea. When you look at the JMA Wireless Dome and how it's cut in half, there's always the thought of, why not just put the court right in the center and put in extended seating? Of course, that really wouldn't make sense because the capacity would be so ridiculous. It would be upwards of 70 or 80K, but technically that is what they do when they play Final Fours and they go to NFL stadiums. They will put the court right in the center and they will bring down extended seating. They will not cut it off at one half like they do at the JMA Wireless Dome. The KFC Yum Center, home to Syracuse, originally built in the early 2000s, has a capacity higher than any NBA arena. It is practically an NBA arena when you look at its completely finished, impressive-looking exterior, along with a very nice interior with a bunch of suites. This would probably be around a top 15 NBA arena at this point, and it's why I always say if Louisville ever got an NBA team, they would certainly have a place to play. The reason I find this arena so unique, it's just like an upper scale NBA arena. Like there's other arenas that have, a big enough seating capacity to host NBA games, but this is one that is actually kind of upscale and you could see an NBA team playing there. Virginia Tech's arena's roof is very peculiar. You can see it going around there with kind of those beams. Another interesting thing about Virginia Tech, they have this weird kind of swoop up in their seats. You can see how it extends upward. I always thought that was a strange, peculiar design. It creates like a curved V going up at each corner. This fall, the newest NBA arena, the Intuit Dome, will open, and it will open with a pretty impressive feature, a giant, uninterrupted row of seats. Well, you want to know where they got that from? Maryland. Yes, Maryland has a massive vertical wall of seats going up right behind one of their baskets. It's such an outrageous wall that it actually connects to the upper deck. The seats connect because it's just so long and uninterrupted. It's very interesting how that works, but I always thought it was cool, and Maryland has a very good environment whenever they're good, and the wall is a big part of that. Fairfield basketball got one of the newest arenas in college, and I gotta be honest, it presents extremely well. You can take a look at the seating, the lower bowl going all the way around, and then a very small upper deck with a ton of natural light shining in. I just view this arena as extremely clean and extremely well done, so just a shout out to Fairfield. Speaking of new arenas, Alabama basketball is trying to build a brand new natural light, state-of-the-art arena with a capacity above 10,000. It's got a very impressive brick-type exterior. It looks like a new age field house. However, Alabama has run into funding problems, and construction for this new arena hasn't even started. There are a lot of SEC teams that need new arenas. We all know about Assembly Hall. I could give you 20 unique facts about it just looking at it, but probably the most unique thing for me is the extremely limited amount of seats right behind the benches. You can see there's just a few benches worth of seats and then a wall swooping down and then more seats. That is so unique for any college basketball arena. You can only find that at Assembly Hall, how there's just 4 rows of like little benches where technically those are the best seats. Those are, the VIP seats, and then there's just a wall, and then there's a mass section of seats going all the way up, and then on top of that, you've got the extremely small upper deck, and of course, all of that is sectioned off with the way the ceiling works. State Farm Arena, home of Illinois. It looks like a UFO. That's the interesting fact. Looks like a concrete UFO looking at it from the exterior. Another interesting thing about this arena, they recently got a renovation where they added in a bunch of suites and luxury seats. There is no upper deck to this arena technically. It is just one giant bowl that is sectioned off in different ways, and the Illini do have a very impressive home atmosphere. Speaking of home atmosphere, oh my goodness, if you asked me who has the worst home atmosphere in college basketball, I might have to say Georgetown. They play at Capital One Arena, which I would consider one of the worst NBA arenas, and Georgetown, with how bad they've been recently, they never come close to selling it out. So there's always a ton of empty seats. There is no environment. I cannot remember the last time Georgetown hosted a game at this arena where there was a raucous environment. It's just so hard for college basketball teams to play at NBA arenas. Now, Georgetown does have an on-campus arena, and this is where they played during the pandemic. The issue is this arena is very small and only seats around 2,000 people, so it is not a legitimate option in terms of hosting all of their home games. The University of Nevada wants to build their new arena and plans on building their new arena at a resort. You can see the surrounding area, the massive artificial pond surrounded by a casino and a hotel in the desert. Unfortunately, we don't have any interior photos of this arena, but if you do zoom in, it does look like there's some sort of translucent ring going around the outer roof of it, which does make it very intriguing. But yeah, Nevada will be building their new arena right onto a resort. That's pretty good for recruiting, and that should be going up by 2026. The Marriott Center, home of BYU, randomly seats around 18,000 people now. They recently gave it a renovation to put in new seat colors and change it up a little bit, but the entire arena is just one giant lower bowl. So the capacity of around 18,000, and it's just one continuous lower bowl. It is sectioned off, however. There's a bigger lower section and a smaller upper section. It reminds me of Michigan Stadium and how it's sectioned off. The Dean Dome, or the Dean Smith Center, is a legendary college basketball arena, but legendary is also a code word for old, and there have been various renovations that have been proposed to the Dean Smith Center, this being the most extensive one with full renderings of the one side, possibly getting multiple levels of suites. Now, this renovation has never happened, at least not yet, although it will be interesting in the future to see if they do decide to renovate it based on how old it is and how little amount of renovations it's received up until this point. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.